Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mystic Raven. All right, guys, it's here. It's not done. That's my disclaimer, but it's here. The freezer burn build. Oh my god, I love this build. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So it was crazy because I kind of knew what direction I was going to go with this tank, but I didn't know how it was going to play out. Sometimes I get these ideas. I guess you call it theory crafting, but I consider myself more of a class builder. But I was thinking, oh man, this would work great. That would work great. Let me try this. Let me go ahead and set this up. And it took me days because I was on PlayStation, but here we are. It's here. It's for you guys. And I will tell you right from the rip, this is something you're not going to use in vet trials. But if you're going to run vet dungeons and just normal trials, this build is a blast. It's a blast. It's so much fun. And that's what I play to. If I'm building to trials, it's very specific builds. But a lot of times when I'm doing vets, I build for fun. I build for performance. And this build does both very well. So let me go ahead and get into it. And we'll cover a lot of different things in this video. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to get into my character sheet. Now, I don't have my Undaunted unlocked at all, so I'm barely over 4. But we'll go ahead and I'll give you my stats. We're sitting at 34,992 max health, slightly under 35k. Now, I'm actually going to be bumping, by the time I get my Undaunted up, this will be looking around 36,000. And for a vet dungeon, I like to stay around 40, but for this build, it works out really nice. So it kind of plays like my sorcerer tank build, the broker, but this works out really nice for vet dungeons. Max Magicka is at 19,518. I definitely have more Max Magicka than stamina. You want more Max Magicka with this build intentionally. I will explain why later. My max stam is at 14,755, and my magical recovery is at 1,119. And yes, you're not reading that wrong. My spell crit down here is at 43.5. And I'm going to explain why that is, because if you look to the left, you're going to go ahead and see my max magic is allocated at 20. Max health is at 44. I have nothing in the stamina, 0. Because I'm also running the Thief Mundus on a tank. I know it sounds crazy, right? But just wait for it. I'll get into it. And of course, I'm going to be using triple max food. All right. So that's the sword and board. Now, here we go. I'm going to be using the frost staff. And it's pretty common, but I love the frost staff on the Warden Tank. Now, on this side, you're going to see my max health just dropped down to 33.4. But Max Magicka stayed the same. We're at about 19.5, and stamina is at 14,755. But my magic recovery went up to 1,002. So, my spell crit's the same. So that's on my staff side what my stat sheet looks like. Now, if you look also below, you'll see my initial resistance is at 20,008 and 20,006. On the board side, 22 and 22. All right. I'll get into all this. Now, the first thing I want to go ahead and get into is the gear, and I'll explain what I'm using and why. Okay. I decided to recraft Twilight's Embrace. Now, I use this on my Argonian Nightblade tank, but for the Warden, for this specific build, now I would never use this set in a trial. Disclaimer, ever on a tank. In a vet trial. Normal trial I would. But definitely not a vet trial. But I'm using Twilight's Embrace. Now, I have the frost staff. It's defending glyphed with crushers. Now, typically, if I don't like to run crushers on a lot of my DPS because as a tank, I feel my tank should have it. It's applied. Once it's applied, no more crusher enchantments are going to apply. And the global cooldowns, you don't know how frequently they're firing. 12 man is fine if you have a couple people running crushers, but usually in a 4-man, you only need one person running crusher. But I like it on my tank better. Just hit the debuff, then somebody can use increase. They're increasing their DPS. That's how I usually typically like to see it. But ideally in an ideal world, but you never know. But this is Crusher. I'm always going to use a Crusher on a weapon, on a tank. It's defending. The reason I'm going to be using defending because I don't have a resistance set. So I want this traded in defending because it's going to give me an increase of physical and spell resistance by 4,980. Now what the Twilight set brings to me as a Warden Tank is very simple. It's going to give me 1,039 max health. It's going to give me 672 spell crit. I want you to pay attention to that. That's very important. It does give me 126 spell damage. That's not really so much important as the crit and the health, but also on the shield side, I'm going to be increasing my healing by 10%. Now keep that in mind as well as I get into this. Now also I'm going to be using the Sword of Twilight's Embrace. Actually this needs to change because I already got one Crusher. I want that Frost, sorry, but I want this Frost. I want to actually do frost damage on my sword, and I'll explain why. But as you guys see, I just glyphed it with the frost. Once again, it's defending. Even though my defending's cut in half, I want to maintain my physical and spell resistance as much as possible. Once again, I'm not using a resistance set. And of course, I have, yes, I did gold this out because it's that much fun. This is the Shield of Twilight's Embrace. It's infused, max health. This is very, very important for this. So I went with the infused, I went max health. I went with the Ice Heart's Mask set. This is the reason being. Now this is glyphed. This is medium because later I'm going to get the Undaunted bonus, and then this one's light to maintain. But this one's divine. I want this infused. Unfortunately, I haven't got the infused yet. In medium, I have the infused light, but not medium yet. So this is max health, divine. It gives me 672 spell crit. When I deal critical damage, I have a 20% chance to gain a damage shield that absorbs 8,736 damage for 6 seconds. While the damage shield holds, I deal 894 frost damage to all enemies within 5 meters of me every second. Now this can happen every 6 seconds. This is a really great set for Wardens. I love this. I use this on my Magicka Warden, and I've decided to use it on my Tank Warden as well because I can keep applying the shields and keep this up for a longer duration. Of course, the damage isn't a factor, but that damage shield added mitigates very well. So I'm going to be using this for mitigating effects and AoE for mobs. Also, I have the Ice Furnace set. Now, this is infused max health. The reason I'm going to go with the Ice Furnace is very simple. It's giving me max magicka. It's giving me another spell crit. It's giving me weapon damage. But when I deal direct damage with the frost damage ability, I have a 50% chance to deal an additional 1,088 flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters around the initial target. This can occur every second. Okay, now it's true that this isn't going to crit. This proc isn't, but it can happen every second while I'm dealing frost damage. Hence, why I want this to be frost, because when I hit with the frost damage, direct damage, and that's including my weave, it can proc the Ice Furnace set. Alright, so that's another one we're using. Those are the two sets we're using along with the Ice Hearts. Okay, so I have the shoulder in sturdy max magicka. I have the waist. Now I do have an infused waist, but I went with the divine just to get the crit up there a little bit more. And this one's glyph max health. I also have the Gauntlets of Twilight's Embrace infused max magicka. Now I could switch that out if I want to and rearrange that. I can go with divine max magicka if you wanted to. I have the Greaves of Twilight's Embrace infused max health. I have the Sabatons of Twilight's Embrace infused max health. I have the Ice Furnace necklace, and that's magicka regen. And also I have Ice Furnace ring, max magicka regen. And I couldn't get the purple to drop in any vet, so I got tired of farming, so I went in and did normals. Luckily, this dropped on another player. He gave it to me. So right now, currently, I have the blue magicka regen. I will be looking to upgrade that to the purple. All right, so that's the gear. Now let's get into the skills. All right, now the first one I have on my sword and board is the Pierce Armor. This is pretty standard for me. I like this better than Ransack. Ransack would, if you wanted to use Ransack on this build, you could. right? Because it would give you additional armor rating. But I like the Pierce armor because it's giving the major fracture and the major breach. Now, I do have another way of getting major breach on this, but I still just like the Pierce armor. To me, as a tank, I rather, you know, get both out of the way. So I use that. Now, I also have Heroic Slash. I love this on a tank because it applies the minor maim and it reduces the damage done by 15% for 12 seconds. I also gain minor heroism, granting me one ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 9 seconds. But the reduction for the minor maim is priceless. You know, I really like that on my tanks. Gripping shards. Okay, so for me, this is all about, you know, AoE control. And I really like this ability because it skewers enemies with icy shards, dealing 8,391 frost damage in the area every second over 12 seconds and reducing movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. On cast, enemies in the area also become immobilized for 3 seconds. Damage done is based on what? My max health. So when everything's firing and I get all my passives unlocked, I'm going to increase my max health by an additional 10% because of the passive in Green Balance, which is maturation. Okay, now you're going to say, well, you're not a healer, you're a tank. Well, that brings us up to the next ability, which is Polar Wind. Envelop myself in Winter Winds, healing for 10% instantly, an additional 2% health every 2 seconds, over 10 seconds. This also heals a nearby ally for 10% of my max health. But when I do a healing ability, it doesn't have to be with the Green Balance ability. It's just anytime I heal me or an ally, I'm going to get that minor toughness. That's going to apply the maturation. So when I proc the heal, I can go ahead, use the gripping shards, and increase the damage done. Okay? Also, I'm going to be using Icy Fortress. This is going to help me do a lot of mitigation because it's going to give me major resolve, increasing physical resistance, and my major ward, increasing my spell resistance for 23 seconds. I also going to gain minor protection, reducing income damage by 8% for 23 seconds. Add that with the Heroic Slash. Okay? So, perfect. It works out really nice. Now, I have Northern Storms on this bar currently, but I'm going to be replacing this with my Warhorn when I get it. Unfortunately, though, I'm only at, Assault 3. So I'm still working on it. So that will be getting replaced. But for now, I have Northern Storm slotted on both bars. This is going to go ahead, twist a violent storm around you, causing nearby enemies to take 2,102 frost damage every second for 8 seconds and reduce their movement speed by 70%. Nearby allies gain major protection, reducing their income damage by 30%. While slotted, your max magicka is increased by 8%. Okay? Now, here's the big one. I'm going to be using the Ellie Drain. Why would a tank want the Ellie Drain? It's going to be simple, guys. I'm going to be using the Frost Staff. Okay, so let's get into the Frost Staff here for a second. Alright, so I'm going to go down here. I'm going to look at Tri-Focus. Now, if you're going to be using Frost Staff on a Magicka DPS, this is something you're not going to want to put points into. But for a tank, you're definitely going to want the points in here. Once again, I'm still unlocking this. Because what it does is fully charge heavy frost attacks, taunt the enemy to attack you for 15 seconds, and also grant you a damage shield that absorbs 1,391 damage. But that's not all. While a Frost Staff is equipped, blocking now costs me Magicka instead of stamina. That's why I want my Magicka higher. I want to have more Magicka than stamina with this build, or if I'm going to be using a Frost Staff on a Magicka tank. Okay, so there that is, and it's not even done yet, because when I go down to this passive, Ancient Knowledge, Frost Staff reduces the cost of blocking by 15%, and it also increases the amount of damage I can block by 10%. Now this is going to get bumped up, obviously, but you can kind of see where I'm going with this. What this is going to do for the Ellie Drain, I'm going to be using elemental damage, a lot of frost damage abilities. So the elemental drain is going to be perfect because now I can tell the healer, deslot the Ellie Drain, you're not going to need it. I'm going to apply it because it's going to give me the minor magic steal, causing the enemy for 21 seconds to restore magicka. Every time the enemy takes damage for 21 seconds, it's going to restore 300 magicka to me and my allies. That's dealing elemental damage. This is perfect. And it's also going to go ahead and apply Major Breach. Even though I'm applying the Major Breach with the Pierce, this is perfect. So if you, like I said, if you wanted to go Ransack instead of Pierce, you can do that. But I'm going to be using the Elemental Drain. Okay, I'm going to be using the Blockade of Frost. The reason being, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, just basically use this to proc my Ice Heart set. Because anytime I deal critical damage, so I have to have damaging effects. So this is going to help me do that. And every time I go ahead and I slam down my staff, it's going to deal 979 frost damage to enemies in the target area every second. So for 8 seconds. Now this is what's perfect for me. And I don't have a lot of damaging effects applied. I need to do crit to proc Ice Hearts. So this is a very important spell for me. Okay, I'm also going to be using the Crystallized Slab. This is going to go ahead and spin a shield of ice around me to absorb projectiles. Each absorb restores 578 magicka. So I've got this, I got Elemental Drain. Alright, keep that in mind. Shield breaks after 3 projectiles. On each successful absorption, a projectile sent back to the enemy for 1,960 frost damage. This also helps proc Ice Furnace. So I got to use direct damage. I can't use a, you know, dot. I have to use direct. This is what this does for me, the Crystallized Slab. So I'm going to be using that. It's going to hit the proc on Ice Furnace. Okay, I'm going to also be using Blue Betty. The reason I want Blue Betty is simple. I'm going to gain Major Sorcery. It's going to increase my spell damage by 20%. I'm also going to gain 3,555 magicka over 22 seconds. Add this with the Crystallized Slab and the Elemental Drain, and now I have a nice abundant amount of magicka resources being restored to me at all times. Okay, and also we have a Lotus Blossom. A Lotus Blossom to me is great. Why? Because it embraces the Lotus Blessing, causing light attacks to restore 1,412 health, and my heavy attacks to restore 4,237. Keep in mind, that's where maturation comes in play, because anytime I'm healing, I'm getting that 10% increase to my health. So this is a plus, but that's not all, because I'm also going to get Major Prophecy, increasing, guess what? That's right, my spell critical. And of course, I have the Northern Storm. So as you guys can see, I'm going to do this real quick. Once I hit this and I go to my character sheet, now my spell crit went from 40 something to 53. That to me is the best aspect, because the more frequently I crit with this build, the more it's going to proc the Ice Heart set. I have to do crit damage. So I want the crit percentage to go up. And I'm also going to restore. So I'm getting a 10% increase right there from the rip. It's perfect. It's so perfect. All right. I love this build. It's going around. Oh, and champion puts. Let's get in this. Now, disclaimer. Once again, another disclaimer. I'm not max CP on PC. I am on PlayStation, but not here. But I will kind of give you guys the gist of what's going on here. So I put a few points into Bless for 5.22. The reason being I'm using Polar Wind, so I want to increase that healing effect. Even though it scales off my max magicka, the more a couple points into this is going to affect that healing capability. I'm also going to go ahead and put 11.25 into Elemental Expert. Why? Because I'm dealing frost damage. I'm also going to be using a lot of erosion. The reason being I do not have penetration as a tank. I'm going to be dealing the less amount of damage, so I want to recap and make up for that. So spell erosion becomes a main focal point for me because I'm using magical based abilities. I just put currently Master Arms at 2.45. This is what I'm working on currently, putting my extra points into. And I have one in the Thaumaturge, and I'll put a couple in there just for the wall. Okay, I currently have nothing in the Ironclad. I will be putting points into this as I'm scaling up, but currently I don't. But I want to get this up there if you are max CP. Hardy is at 11.25, and so is Elemental Defender. My Bastion is at 4.78. I'll actually be taking this up to about 6%, and that's where I'll hold. And my recovery is currently at 7.28 because I want to increase my healing received because I'm healing myself. So this is why I want quick recovery. Warlord is currently at 6.11. I will be bumping this up a little bit more, but it's not my main focal point because I need reduction in block cost. Tenacity is currently at 5.46. I won't be taking this up too much, a couple more points, but that's about it. Arcanus is currently at 7.5 and Mooncalf is at 5.7. I will take this up to about 6 point something, and this will probably go up to about 10 something on my Arcanus. My healthy is currently at 5.7. I'm actually comfortable with that currently, so I'll make those adjustments as needed down the road. Tumbling is only at 2.45. I'm a tank. I don't roll out a lot of mechanics. I usually try to keep in the mechanics unless I need to roll out. But if I do, I want that reduction cost. But my main focal point as a tank is Shadow Ward because I want to reduce the cost of block, and I've taken that up to 12.43. Currently, I'm happy with that. So I don't know if I'll be taking that up as of yet, but I'm currently happy with that points as it stands. So that's how I've kind of allocated the champion points. So I just got this done yesterday. Got him to 50 the other day ago. And if anybody's asking about race, now here's the deal. Currently, I made him a REDGUARD, right? The reason being I knew I was going to have to go more Magicka base. So I wanted more max stam, right? So that's why I went with the REDGUARD, and I like the adrenaline rush. You know, for, you know, doing the sword attack, I can restore a little bit more stamina. Nord would be great for this build, right? Basically, like, if you're going Magicka, Warden Tank, High Elf's going to be good. No doubt about it. Nord is going to be really good on that. Orc is going to be good. And I wouldn't say necessarily Argonian unless you want to do the potion things. If you want to do a lot of potion drinking, Argonian is good for that because you get the healing and received and given. So that would be good for it. So, but I know later down the line I'm going to go with the stam DPS of this class. So that's why I went with REDGUARD too. So I usually, as I'm leveling my Undaunted, I make all of my stam classes tank, and then I convert them later down the road. But yeah. But if you want to, you know, go with specific, Nord, Orc, High Elf would be good. Breton would be perfect. You could go Breton all the way. Breton would be awesome for this build. Okay. White gold. I won't be queuing the vet on that. Like I said, my Undaunted unlocked. One? That's one. I'm going for it. Oh yeah. I could probably do that. Your gear has that's one. Yeah, I can get those. I can do those. That's not a problem. Shouldn't be. Alright. So Darkshade 1 and Crypt of Heart 1. Oh. Making sure, yeah, I'm tank roll. Now I don't even have a lot of pots either. I'm kind of hurting on this area. Once again, you guys know that I like to, like, you know, put the build in action, let people kind of see it, forming group. Darkshade. All right. Hope he checks food buff. Ookie day. First thing I'm always going to want to do. Okay. Love it. Oh, wrong bar. I love it. Just stand behind me. That's all you have to do. Damn it. Should have hit the shield switch. Bitch heals more than anybody. This boss can be annoying. Thought I had my block up. Now you'll see him switch. On my block cost Magica.
Not done yet. Cowards, the lot of you. This mine belongs to House Celos. You are will be tremendous son.
Wait from the teleport. And okay, I'm gonna give him a heal here. I like it's a Warden healer. So you can see my life kind of going up, so you guys can anticipate what's going to happen when I get my passives unlocked. I was hitting block. Come on, whatever. Wrong button. Once again, I never know what I'm going to get, guys, either, so. I'll drag him. Ah, shit. Get back here. Okay. Come here. Oh, come on, loot. Anytime I run low, I can go back to the shield and use the shield for the stamina block until I regen. That's nice. Get back here. Okay, I'm gonna slowly move my way out here. See the taunt applied on the heavy attack. Drag him out of here. I don't want him healing from those bots. Scan, I'm gonna weave up. Gonna keep him out of here. Oh shit. Running out there. There we go. That's right. Come to me, big bitch. Yeah. Nice. I didn't die once. Almost bit on that last one though. My rotation needs a little work still. Just like I said, I just got done building it, so I need to clean it up a little bit, but it works so good. It's simple, but oh well. Alright, there's the build, guys. You know, I like it. I like it a lot. It plays really good. Like I said, my stats will go up once my Undaunted's unlocked. So I'll get this up to about 36k max health. Magicka, I'll be sitting around almost 21k. So, yeah. It works out really well, and it's kind of unconventional. It's definitely not meta. Once again, I pride myself on this. This is what I do. This is kind of where I go. I need to clean up the rotation, but it works out nice. This build definitely has its advantages. But if you have any questions or comments, please post below. I hope you guys like the build. I really enjoyed putting this build together. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I do want to thank everybody for watching. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, like I said, post below. I look forward to criticism, whatever, any kind of feedback. I sometimes I like the trolls more than they like to harass me. So, but thank you very much, and once again and always, thank you, and have a nice day.